Hi folks, Happy New Year and welcome back to my channel. I've had this cold for a few days now, and so my voice isn't quite there, but I'm gonna try my best to get through this review without my voice breaking. So today we are looking at the Samsung Gear Sport. Just a disclosure, I was given the Samsung Gear Sport to review for 2 weeks and then I had to return it. And this actually happened sometime toward the end of November, so I don't have it anymore. I haven't had it in almost a month's time, and so some of these observations I might have forgotten some of the details, but I will write a separate blog post about this and I'll put the link below, so it'll be easier for you to find all the stuff that I might have forgotten to put into this video. It's the latest iteration of Samsung's smartwatches. It was designed to work really well with Samsung smartphones, as well as other smartphones, of course. You would need to download an app to access any of the additional functionality of the watch, and Samsung does a pretty good job of integrating almost everything into the phone, so it's almost frictionless how the Gear integrates into the functions of a Samsung smartphone. I have a Samsung Galaxy S7. So when I got this, I got the Gear at the launch event of sorts that Samsung held to also launch a few other products. Hi, good morning. We are at the launch of the new Samsung Gear Sport products. Today I think it's their fitness band. They've got two kinds of fitness trackers. One a simpler band and the other one is the sport band. And then they've got some wireless earphones as well. Thing is that it doesn't really look like a smartwatch. It looks like a regular watch and a regular dress watch, if I do say so, because I'm somebody who wears I wear a Garmin, I wear a Fitbit most days, and so to have something that sleek on my wrist was something new. The box that it came with a longer and a shorter wristband, and it was quite easy to snap on and off because the Gear Sport is designed to be used with a multiple variety of wristbands. Alright, so I am going to look up some of the specs from the Samsung Gear Sport. The Gear Sport has a circular interface and rotating bezel and side buttons for navigation, and so that's how you actually navigate through the whole thing. But it also has a really nice touch screen, and a lot of times I just use the touch screen to get around the whole watch interface. And the only reason that you would want to use the bezel is when you go into the water, because then the watch kind of locks down the touchscreen functionality and you can only access certain things by using the bezels and the buttons. Oh yeah, so that's the big thing about the Gear Sport, is that you can actually swim with it. I received the watch I think a day before I was set to leave for the Angkor Wat International Half Marathon, and so I was super excited to use it, and I wanted to bring it along to Angkor Wat and use it to track everything that I would do there, from the steps I would take to the half marathon, and maybe even use it in the swimming pool. But I ended up not bringing it because I was too scared that I would lose the watch or I would break it. When I got it, I immediately installed the apps that were supposed to go with it on the phone. The funny thing is that for some reason, when I turned the watch on, it suddenly triggered my phone to display the gear app that was hidden, and it prompted me to update the app, and so I did. I don't know if I left the Bluetooth on, which is how the watch was able to connect to my phone and trigger all of these functions, but that was, like I said, pretty frictionless. You know, if you've got Samsung products, they're really designed to work with each other almost out of the box. Yeah, and then I was able to like start customizing the watch and set up my profile, like am I male or female, what my height is, what my weight is. The gear app on the phone interfaces with the Samsung S Health app as well. I mean, it transfers the data that it records from the gear into the S Health system. So if you were using S Health previously to track the number of steps you took, how much sleep you got, if you used the back of the Samsung phone to track your heart rate, it will also track that. And so all of the information that the gear app collects from your watch onto your phone, it ports into the S Health system. So that was pretty cool. And that happened while I was setting up the phone. So initially I was really impressed with the whole ecosystem. As I drove home, the watch would buzz on my wrist if I got a text message, or maybe if I received a phone call or a Facebook notification. Obviously, you know, I mean, I don't really try to read things while I'm driving. That's dangerous. Don't do it. If you do it, you'll get arrested. It's having that wristwatch on my wrist saved me from picking up the phone. It stopped me from picking up the phone and you know, using it. When I got home, I had used the watch a lot, and there was just a little bit of a base charge, so the watch started running out of battery. So I charged it. It's got this really cool wireless charger, so there are no ports on the watch anymore that you have to plug a little cable into. Instead, it has this cradle which the watch slots into. I wasn't provided a charging cable, but you can use the charging cable of your smartphone, of any Android smartphone actually. And that's where I ran into my first problem. The watch would only charge up to a certain level, and then it would say it was overheating, so it would stop charging. I actually have no idea why it would do that. I mean, it's not like my house is a sweltering hot box. Maybe I was using a fast charger cable, and that's why the wireless charger was supplying a bit too much power to the watch. I don't know. In any case, I went out the next day with the watch charged to about 50% capacity. I had to decide whether to bring it with me to Angkor Wat, and I decided ultimately to leave it. So when I came back from Angkor Wat 3-4 days later, that's the only time that I could use the watch again. So I came back from Angkor Wat, got the watch, charged it all the way up again, and this time it charged all the way to full. And then, you know, when I fired the watch up, my phone started giving me notifications about the gear app needing to be updated and the watch OS needing to be updated too. And so, you know, I was out of the house, so I used my data connection to download the updates, install the updates, and then, you know, just as I finished installing one update on the watch, it gave me another notification that a new update was available. And this happened like in the course of one day. It happened 4 times, and by the 4th time trying to download updates that were about 50 megabytes, 100 megabytes in weight or capacity, I was fed up. It didn't need this many updates 4 days ago. Did Samsung do something and update its watchOS like 4 times or every day, and so this update keeps getting prompted? So I just said, you know what, I don't care if it's gonna ask me to update anymore. I'm just gonna try to use whatever OS is there right now, because you know, it was eating up my data allowance for no good reason. It was also eating up the watch battery and the phone battery. What a hassle. And so there's an indoor treadmill option on the watch. It logs the time that you ran and the heart rate that you ran at, but I couldn't see where it would display the speed it estimated you were running at. Other watches use internal accelerometers to determine or give an estimate of how fast you're going, especially if it's indoor, where there is no GPS signal to base speed data off. But this watch didn't display any of that. In any case, I synced the data from that session into the Gear app, and it was supposed to port to the S Health app. And to get data from the S Health app into Strava, you would have to authorize these two apps or systems to communicate with each other. For the most part, it worked, but the S Health porting into Strava would list it as an activity, not like an indoor run or any other sport. So it was kind of strange that the Gear app didn't work directly with Strava and you had to go through S Health. So that was my one big niggle. I didn't use the watch to run outdoors with. The other workout that I did use the watch with was a swim. I used it side by side with my Garmin Forerunner 920 XT because I wanted to see if it could detect laps, the distances of the laps, and the pace that I would swim those laps at. It did detect the distance well, especially when you input what the length of the pool is. So it was pretty much able to detect switching or change directions. The one thing that it lacked was the split option, the interval option. So it pretty much just records your entire session from start to finish without the ability to like show that you were resting for a bit of an interval before going again, which is probably fine if you're just counting laps and counting time spent exercising. But if you were trying to determine whether you were going faster or slower in an interval, or you were going off a specific interval in a swim session, then the watch couldn't do it. In fact, because the bezel, because the touch screen display would lock when you're doing a swimming session, it was quite hard to navigate using the bezel and the buttons. You want to stop the session. You want to stop and see how much time you spent swimming a certain lap. You couldn't do that because you'd have to like long press the side button, and then that would wake the touch screen, and then you could hit certain things on the touch screen so that the session would stop. I would say though that as a smartwatch, and for people who love their smartwatches, their Apple Watches, etc., etc., I think that the Samsung Gear Sport is, you know, something that you could definitely look at as a viable alternative. It's meant to work with a variety of OSs and devices. It's just that it's optimized for the Samsungs. Overall, I think that the Samsung Gear Sport is for somebody who wants a smartwatch, also wants a sport watch, or an activity tracker, and doesn't own any of those things, because it is great as an all-in-one device. You know, you could have the smartwatch with its Dick Tracy style info displays, and you can detect the number of steps that you've taken in a day, so you can track whether you're being active enough, and then, you know, basic recording of your runs, of your exercise. It can also track sleep and heart rate. So it's definitely for people who want reminders to be more active. Now, if you're a serious endurance athlete though, you might find this watch to be a little lightweight. Like I said, it didn't track certain data points that a marathoner, a swimmer, or a triathlete would really need or would want to see. So for that, I would still recommend you getting a specialized sport watch. The Gear Sport though is given at a price point that's hard to beat for all of the things that you could potentially do with it. Sorry for being a bit negative about the watch, but I really didn't see the need for it in my life. I'm aware that there are a lot of other casual fitness enthusiasts who will adore this. For those people on the go who need the smartwatches so they don't have to keep looking at their phones, it was good. It was really good. It's just that I'm not that kind of person. More information about this watch, I'm gonna write it down in a blog post linked below, so you can look at it for additional information and for anything else that I forgot to include in this video. Okay guys, so that does it for this review of the Samsung Gear Sport. If you like this video, or if you want to see more of these clumsy reviews that I'm ending up making, please click like, subscribe to my channel. I'm hoping to get better at this, but seriously, I mean, I do these reviews just because I want to share my perspective on products that are being peddled out there for us fitness and sports enthusiasts, and I really want to make sure that you are getting what you want and need at this point in your fitness journey. So see you guys next time. Thank you and bye-bye.